Yes, guys, what's going on? Welcome to Stretford, Paddock. I am Adam McCullough. I am with Ronaldo Brown. We have beaten Everton 3-1. Ronnie, what did you make of that today? Big win for United.
Big win. Obviously, we needed it. I said it before the game. That after a run of 2 defeats, was pretty much on the brink a little bit in terms of probably getting off a little bit too far from the rest from the pack. I know it's early doors. I know that you can actually always fight back, but it might have been digging ourselves too much of a hole at that point. And I think we needed to win, and it kind of showed us, the players kind of showed that kind of needed to win kind of hunger aspect as well. And we should have that every single game. It's not one of them where you got to wait until there's a little bit of uncertainty around your manager's job and there's a little bit of uncertainty about where United's kind of go in their direction in the season. To play like that, I don't want it to be, part of me wants to be excited and wants to be infused by the fact that we've played like that against Everton, who have been high flying this season and been doing well. But then obviously I still want to be kind of, I want to.
Really a head scratcher, isn't it?
It's a very,
because
very
even
much
if
so.
we take away Ollie and the pressure around his job, like we see this from United a lot, the inconsistency. Sometimes we'll be beating the best teams about, and then other days we'll be getting battered by, which we've shown in the Champions League this year. But that today for me showed that, you know, if there is a lot of rumours around the manager, which there are, and the players are hearing these, and like they've dug in for him there today. It's not like, you know, a lot of people say, they're not playing for the manager. Well, that's clearly false.
Nah, I don't think that's ever been the issue. I don't think Ole is one of those managers as a player, because obviously having played, he doesn't seem like the kind of guy that can get on the wrong side of you, or maybe you might not agree with some of his tactics or some of the way that he's approached the training, or some things that you might not disagree with a player. But as a man, I don't see Ollie being the type of player that you'd be like, I don't really want to play for him. I think it's almost the opposite, but the same in a way, where the fact that he is so nice and he's such a good lad, and the fact that you kind of take it for granted, or you kind of, do you know what I mean? He gives you an inch, so you take a mile. So that comes with the complacency in your kind of performance. You're a little bit more laboured, you're a little bit more relaxed, and players aren't all the way on it because they're not anxious about, Ollie might give me a little bit of a hairdryer at half time. They don't kind of think like that. So I think maybe it's not how you're saying it in terms of they're not playing for him because they dislike him or they don't want him in the job, but it's almost like they're just too comfortable.
Well, the demands aren't there.
Yeah, the demands aren't there. Maybe they're a bit too comfortable because Ollie's he's a nice person, and he's a nice person. And
I don't believe he's a nice person behind closed doors constantly, though. I believe
I believe he gives it, but I think there's a little bit, there's a certain presence that certain managers have that they carry, and Ollie doesn't necessarily always have that. But it's not necessarily a negative. I'm not saying it's a negative, because that is good in a sense, but it's in a way where sometimes players, what players are like at that kind of level, on that kind of lucrative money, they kind of sometimes start smelling themselves, and they think, if he's giving me a little bit inch there, then I can kind of take a mile. But forget all of that, innit? We won today, and that's pretty much the positive thing.
And it was a good win. It was a deserved win, wasn't it?
Very well deserved. I was kind of surprised today with Everton's performance. I expected them to be a little bit more threatening than they were, because of how shaky our defence has been. But Maguire was solid today. Lindelof was decent. I thought Luke Shaw was good today. Wan-Bissaka quietly was very, very good as well. I think that kind of might have been attributed to Fred's performance though as well, because of the fact that he kind of sat in front of the back four and did so well. He was a proper destroyer today. I think he put in an absolute immense performance. I was looking in the second half thinking that might be up there with one of Fred's best ever games for United. And I don't think that's even hyperbole. I don't think that's an exaggeration at all.
Because he had a big battle in there, Aaron Decore. They're not only good footballers, but especially Decore is really physical.
To see how physical the game was at times.
Alan is the same as well. He'll fly into a tackle. And there was that period of play where we saw a couple of challenges flying in, and then
old
we win the
Prem.
free. Yeah, it was good, innit?
Good, innit? Excited the fans a little bit. We don't really get that much in the game no more.
You could tell if the crowd was in there, it would have been one of them where everyone would have...
I think if the crowd was in there, I think you might see someone sent off. You know, that crowd gives you that little 1 inch boost and that turbo into the challenge. But
Bruno looked like he was a man that was going to get sent off today, didn't he?
That's what I like about Bruno, though. I know you like it about Bruno as well. He plays on the edge. He's a prop. He pretty much epitomises playing on the edge. He's got character, and you can tell it bothers him to lose. And he's, we kind of question the character of the players and sometimes the motivation of some of them. I don't think you can ever say that about Bruno. That's why you kind of on favour of him possibly being captain. He has captain qualities. He has. he's on the front foot, and he's one of those players where he can kind of spur the team on. I think he's the one that actually set the tone from minute one today.
100%.
I think he's, yeah.
Because you can tell as well, even like when United go behind, if you don't have a Bruno on the pitch, let's say he's not there and you're playing someone else, it may not be their fault particularly, but they may not be that kind of character that's gonna, just by flying around and moaning and doing all this and just showing a little bit of urgency, it kind of rubs off. Because then if you're watching him, you're thinking, shit, I can't make it look like Bruno's doing all the work. And it kind of brings something else 100%.
Out of when you're playing with someone that's doing that, you kind of want to back him up. You don't want him to be flying. Because sometimes you have seen Fernandes in games where he's kind of flying around on his own and no one's really backing him up. But he proper spurred the team on today, I think, from the start. He kind of faded in the second half a little bit, but that was kind of come expected to how much he put in, because he was pretty much everywhere at the start. But I was kind of worried at times he was going to get sent off, because I think he said he's on the edge, but sometimes that comes with the
and you don't want to get him sent off. You need that, but we need him for the next game.
Smart players, isn't it?
He got 2 goals and an assist today, I think it was, in the end. I don't think Rashford got that goal. But obviously we spoke about him as a leader. He's not our leader, he's not our captain. Maguire's our captain, and I thought he put in a really good performance today.
Yeah, Maguire was solid today. I think it suited him, actually, because Everton are one of them teams, especially with Calvert-Lewin, that went across the ball, and that's supposedly supposed to be Maguire's bread and butter. He's defending aerially, and he pretty much stepped up to the plate today, and he kept Calvert-Lewin quiet. One of the most informed players, not even just in the country, probably one of the most informed players in Europe, to be honest. And he did very well against him today. And I can't honestly fault Maguire today. As much as well, he should have won a pen as well. Should have won a pen. What happened there?
That was my next. Was that a pen for you?
That's a penalty. Because as you said,
some people have mentioned the push from Maguire as it goes up. He has one arm on Pickford,
but it wasn't given, and that's soft. That I don't. You know what I don't understand when it comes to keepers. Why are goalkeepers so protected when it comes to aerial challenges, when they're the ones that can jump up and use their hands and catch
knees
it, and knees and everything? But if you jump up with an opposing player that can't do them things and do twice the contact you do on a keeper,
or even if just little
just do that, not a foul. I don't understand. I've always been confused about that. I thought I'd actually mention it. Why are keepers protected? When
I get why they're protected, because if a keeper's got the ball in their hands, and you're
that's different.
It can get dangerous. But I get things like that make it really odd, because we kind of overly protect them to an extent. And I've played in goal for a laugh sometimes at Sunday League level, and you'll chuck your elbows in and your knees in. And goalkeepers are more protected than anything.
They are.
When you jump up, get taught, bring your knees up.
They can jump out and absolutely clatter you and catch the ball.
And we saw it with Pickford.
With Pickford, saw it. So no foul, but if a player does that on a keeper, you know what's the funniest part?
Keepers he did it against Van Dijk.
But the funniest part is keepers are usually up there with the biggest players on the pitch. 6'2", 6'3", probably way more than most of the keepers. They're physically superior to a lot of players they come against. Yet they're the ones that are treated as if you put a finger on them in a box when they're trying to catch the ball. It's a foul. It's confusing. But anyway, that would have been a foul anywhere else on the pitch.
Yeah, Pickford's reckless. He's done that now to Van Dijk. Nobbled him for the whole season. Nearly did it to fucking Maguire. Let's be real. The geezer must be running around trying to collect centre-backs at the moment. As for the window, obviously before the game, a lot of pressure on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Do you think that relieves it now, or it's just a bit of breathing space?
I don't know. I think it's almost we were taking 2 steps, but the opposite of the saying, we took 2 steps back and only 1 step forward. I think it's just momentary breathing space. You can't overreact, even though football is weakling. It's a very reactionary game. It's a very reactionary sport, but I can't think you can't look at the performance and just be like, oh, we beat Everton away today, having lost like that in the midweek and lost last week. Ollie's back. Ollie's completely secure. It does offer him a little bit of time, but we need to see this over a longer stretch of time before we start saying those kind of things. But as I've said, as fans, we just need to focus on our team getting results and not feed too much into the managerial drama, even though it is a talking point. But it does, as you've said, it's given Ollie a little bit of breathing space. It's given him a little bit of time. But we need to see this carry on now, and we can't let this get to our heads, especially with some of the fixtures that we've still got in the near future.
Most def.
Yeah.
So your man of the match was
Fred, 100%.
Fred.
Fred
All right,
was an
that's
animal.
fair enough. That's fair enough. Guys, get your thoughts in on everything we've discussed here with Ronnie. Make sure you keep me like, comment, share, subscribe. You got any tier ones coming up soon?
Gonna have to stay tuned for that. We definitely do though.
All right then. Cheers. So you've heard from Ronaldo. Here is Alex with us now. Al, 3-1 United. Good 3 points for us in the bag. Were you dreading this game today?
I was nervous for Ollie, for everything. You know, coming into international break, the last thing we needed was 3 losses on the bounce and playing Everton. Even though they've been on a shit bit of form in the Premier League, I think that everyone kind of put them as favourites in this game, and it was nervous because we all kind of thought that this was coming towards the end of Ollie's thing and Ollie's reign, which it shouldn't be the case. It shouldn't be this is one game's going to judge what a manager's done over the last 2.5 years, but I think everyone was talking about it. It was getting to that point where if you'd have had the performance, I think we mentioned it before, and that if you had the 2019 versus Everton performance under Solskjaer today, I think that could have been it. But it wasn't. It was a very good performance, and we looked back to what we have been doing.
How do you explain? Can you put your finger on the inconsistency?
I don't know. Not really, no, because very similar team to what played against Arsenal last week. Adding Anthony Martial in there was probably the only big change to that. You played the diamond formation last week, but you know Mata came in over Paul Pogba. You shouldn't say that would upgrade a Manchester United team by too much, but I think that the team in Rashford, I think Martial, and I think Bruno prefers playing in this 4-2-3-1. To try and force Paul Pogba into there is a tough thing. And I think that's where we kind of have our better performances, when we do have the 2 sitting, when you give Bruno that free roll so he can get into the box and do what he's done today. And I think that is the system that I think Ollie's going to use from now on.
I think it's good to be flexible with your formation and your tactics, especially when you've got different opposition. But I was glad to not see the diamond today. I thought that hasn't really worked well for us. And I feared for that, especially with the likes of Bernard and James Rodriguez and Iwobi, who came out like that can occupy these wider positions. I thought they could have really caused us problems. So it's good to see us go away from that and into a more familiar formation. I still think the 4-3-3 is the one.
Yep.
Like I complained before the game because Fred and McTominay are too flat. Now today, against Alan Decore, all right, makes sense.
Yep.
But I eventually want to see just one of them and then 2 further ahead of them.
I don't know. I think that there's still a thing that Fred still needs McTominay and McTominay still needs Fred. I think that when they're isolated...
That's why we need a specialist.
You need someone better than them. You need someone better than them. I think Matic was that player years ago. I don't think he can do it for 50, 60 games a season now. But I think that the problem with Fred... I think Fred and McTominay were really good today. Both did the work. Both did. Fred going forward as well a bit, playing progressive passes, which is what you've been crying out for. But I think when they play as a 6 on their own, I think they really struggle. And I think that when they play together, you saw it for a lot of last season. They're very, very good and very effective, and it raises Bruno as well. I think that he doesn't have to look over his shoulder. He knows that them 2 lads are doing all the work behind him. It allows him to press the ball. It allows him to do what he's very good at.
Yeah, talking about doing what they're very good at. Cavani got his first goal for United today. Good to see him scoring, isn't it?
Yeah, even it being the last kick of the game, even though, even if he'd have missed it, it probably wouldn't affect the result. You want to get your strikers on the score sheet. You want to get them going, and it's huge. I think he looked really good coming on today, Cavani. I think he looked sharp here and there. I think he held the ball up quite well at times. I think he made himself a nuisance a bit more. I think that's what you want out of him. If he can get up to full fitness, he's going to have this international break. I don't know whether he still plays international football. I think that get himself up to full fitness, get him in and around the training ground for another 2 weeks now. I think he could be pushing for starting in some games, and that doesn't mean that Martial's the one that dropped, because it could be Martial plays on the left now and again.
That composition can be good for them.
It is, and it means that Martial could play on the left in a couple of games. Rashford can get a break when he's needed, because there's been times last season when Rashford was playing through injuries. Martial was in a bit of a bad run of form coming into this game, but you couldn't drop him because there isn't any options. Whereas now, if Cavani can get himself up to speed, now he's got the goal under his belt and he wants to get going, you can rest Martial, you can rest Rashford, which is just what you're going to need going to play 50 games in a season, 50, 60 games.
You definitely are. Obviously, still going to be pressure on Ali, but do you think this relieves it a little bit? Or I
think it relieves it for now. I think that the whole point of this the way that the media portrays it, the way that fans kind of jump on it. If we lose 2 games, all he needs to go. If we win 1 game, he's the best manager in the world. That's not the case. We need to look at it as a whole and how things are going. The problem was where we were getting in the league. Being 15th in this league was looking worrying. And if you lost that game today, there was potential for us to be 17th. There's potential for us to be 9 and 10 points behind the lead already. And I don't think we're gonna see ourselves as title challengers this year. But we don't want it over before the November international break. We want it to still be, if we get a good run of form together, then we can be in the title race after January. I'm not saying that that's going to happen, but you don't want it over in November.
Yeah, most definitely. Al, thanks for your time. Who was your man of the match?
I'm going to say same as Ronnie. Fred I thought was quality today. Bruno got the 2 goals and the assist, but Fred was everywhere, and I think it's a massive part of why we played so well today.
Cheers out.